Welcome back. This is day 2 of helping me count what's in this jar. Last week we counted. Do you remember? How much did we count last week? What was our total? It was $6.90, and you guys all did a really great job with that. Something that I want to remind you about is that counting money is a skill, and so the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And counting money is a very important adult skill that we all have to do. What if you're at Caribou and the cashier asks you, okay, $3.25 is your total, and there's a long line of people waiting behind you, and you have to count out your money in front of them. What if you get it wrong a couple times? Is that okay? Of course it is. But we want to make sure that your skills are where they need to be so that you can confidently count money wherever you are. That's why I'm teaching you certain strategies that will help you count money a little bit faster, like skip counting, sorting out your money, making piles, dollar piles. All of these are different strategies that you can use to count your money a little bit faster. So let me show you what I mean here. Do you think it's easy for anyone to count this money like this? I don't think there's anyone that can just look at this pile of money and know how much money it is. So, my strategy, one of the strategies that you can use, is to sort it. Let's make piles of it first. Let's make piles of our pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and our bills. Okay, I have my piles. I have my pennies, my nickels, my dimes, my quarters, and my bills. Okay, I put something in the wrong pile. I need you to tell me what my mistake was. I put one of these coins in the wrong pile. It's kind of tricky. Can you pause the video and let me know which coin I put in the wrong pile? If you guessed this coin, then you're right. This is not a quarter. What is this? It kind of looks like a quarter, right? It's not this. It's not a dime. It's a... What is this? A nickel. There's many times where people can confuse nickels and quarters. But make sure you're looking at your coins carefully, because this is a nickel. It's worth 5 cents. These are worth how much? Quarters. How much is a quarter worth? 25 cents. Also, another way you can tell how much it is it'll say on there, on the very bottom, it says 5 cents. Can you see that? 5 cents. This is a quarter, and I know that because on the bottom it says quarter dollar. This is 1/4 of a dollar. So 4 of these make $1. Also, look at this super cool fun fact. This is still a quarter, but if you look at the bottom, what year was this quarter made? What year does that say? Can you read it? It says 1966. That's old, right? Just kidding, it's not that old. Okay, enough horsing around, Jenny. Let's count this money. Like we talked about last week, when I make my piles, I want to make them so that they're easier for me to count. So what I'm doing with my pennies is I'm making them into piles of 2, because I know that later on, I'm gonna skip count these by 2s, so it's easier. So when I'm making my piles, I'm just putting 2 together. That's gonna help me count it faster. I'm fine with these, there's not many there. This looks kind of unorganized to me, so I'm just gonna make a line so it's easier for me to skip count. Do they have to be perfect? No. And then my quarters, Well, right now in my head, I know that 4 quarters makes $1. So instead of trying to count 25, 50, $75, 25, 50, $75, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make dollar piles. So I'm going to put 4 quarters here. I know that's $1. I got 4 quarters here. I know that's another $1. And then I've got 3 quarters here. So this is going to be easier for me to count when I'm ready to count my quarters. And next I have my bills, and they're just in a pile so they're ready for me to count. And again, I have my paper that looks like this: pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, bills, and the total. And this is just for me to write down my total for each coin pile so that I don't forget, and then I can add them all up at the end. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to be writing the totals on the assignment sheet of paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start you off, and then you're going to finish counting. When you're done counting a pile, make sure to write it on your assignment piece of paper that goes along with this video. Okay, are you ready? We're skip counting by 2s, and these are pennies. So 2, 4, 6. What did you get? I'm gonna write mine down right here. And remember, when you're writing money, what do you always have to put so people know that it's money? The $sign. And since this was less than $1, we want to put our decimal first to show that it's change, it's cents. All right, write your answer down. Okay, next we're going to count our nickels, and we're skip counting by 5. So remember, skip counting by 5 goes 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and so on. So we're going to start at 5, 5. Okay, and then you're going to write down what you got on your assignment sheet. Remember, your $sign goes first. And we're still working with cents. It's not above $1, so our decimal point goes right after the $sign. Okay, now we're going to count our dimes. And remember, 1 dime is 10 cents. So now we're going to be skipping 10 every time we count one of these. So just so you remember, skipping by 10 goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and so on. Okay, I'll start you off and then you have to finish. 10, 20, 30. All right, make sure to write your answer down. Okay, now it's time to count our quarters. And remember, I made dollar piles already. So if you see that there are 4 quarters, you know that that's $1. This is another $1. But this is not $1, right? There's only 3 quarters. So when we count quarters, the pattern is 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. So how much do we have here? So look at your piles. You know that these are dollars. $1, another $1, and this isn't quite $1. So when you think you have it, I want you to write down your total on your paper. And I can tell you, it is going to be over $1. So remember, you start with your $sign, and then the decimal goes after the number you put there. And remember, there's always 2 spots after the decimal. Okay, now I'm ready to count my bills. If I'm not sure how much a bill is, I know that I can look at the bottom. So how much is this bill worth? What does it say? $5. Okay, I can also see that there's a 5 on top. So I always like to start with my biggest bills and add on to that. So I'm going to start with my 5 plus, how much is this one? There's a 1 in the corner and then it says $1 on the bottom. So 5 plus 1 is, let's write it down. And we know that it's over $1, so it's going to look like this. And remember, how many spaces after the decimal? Okay, now it is time to add up what you got for each pile. And add it up, and then you're gonna write your total at the bottom. I gave you guys a pretty big hint. It ends in a 4. So make sure to do this on your assignment sheet. You're gonna need your calculator. And also when you're using your calculator, be careful on where you're putting that decimal point. That can affect the amount of money that you're going to end up with.